Good evening, everybody. Your pal Martin the Millet here. I hope you're all going well. I'm back in London after a week of strong travels in West Africa, getting to 4 amazing countries, plus a layover in Ivory Coast. Nice to see myself wearing this shirt I bought at Accra Airport, even though it was a bit overpriced, but I just like to help the locals out. Anyway, today it is the 2nd of June 2024, so that means on this day 7 years ago, I got on a bus from Birmingham and moved to London. This was the third time I had left Birmingham in a period of less than 2 years, because first time I left Birmingham was August 2015, had to go back to Australia. Second time I left Birmingham was June 2016. I was not achieving anything because of my negative opinions of the whole Brexit referendum. Third time I left Birmingham was I'd gotten really tired of not being able to hold down a decent job or not being able to get hired for even the most dumbest positions you could ever find. I just wanted to be a waiter, I just wanted to work in the industry, I just wanted a job to pay my rent, pay my bills, and go abroad. That's what we all want to do. But nobody in Birmingham was going to give me a chance. I remember I had a nice interview a week before I left Birmingham at this milkshake stand at Easy Diners at the Birmingham Bullring. The guy liked my resume, liked me, but he had no decency to send me a rejection letter. And I remember just years down the track, I trolled with these people. I just thought, you have no decency. You can't even give me the right reason why you didn't want to hire me for a job. That's fine, I'm going to spend your taxes on rent and pornography. So I moved to London 7 years ago, and I didn't even plan on doing this. It was either you move to London or you go back to Australia, a loser, and you have to deal with all the horrible things you don't like in Australia, such as expensive rent, expensive travel, medications that cost a lot of money, even if they're on the PBS. Just unhappiness, really bad opinions about others, closed-mindedness. And so I did not want to go back to Australia because that would have been the third time I've gone back to Australia loser, and I would have just basically just turned my back on living in the United Kingdom, and I would have just spent the last 7 years in Australia just having to work crap 0-hour contract jobs. But when I moved to London, I was able to get a job within a few weeks. And the funny thing was, I kept this job for a total of 5 years. Now, you can read all my stories about my first year in London on my book, which you can find on Amazon. I'm just going to show you. It's called I Lived the Year in London Hostels. I explain in detail in a diary about the things I did in the 52 weeks from the time I got off the bus at Victoria Coach Station to the time I just left for the airport in June 2018 over a nervous breakdown because the company I was working for was hiring dumbasses who couldn't do a decent job, so I quit and fled to Sweden. Now, I take quite pride in that I was able to move to London because I left behind in Birmingham really crappy transport, but I left behind cheaper accommodation. Some days in the last few years, I thought to myself, what would it be like just to go back to Birmingham, live in an okay property, which costs less than living in London, but not being able to cover your needs because, you don't have a decent job. I'll never forget this one job interview I went to in 2017. The guy at this pub was an xenophobic idiot, asked me why I moved here from Australia, and I verbally abused him months down the track, basically saying, you're xenophobic, you don't ask questions like that. I just wanted a job to pay my rent, and this dickhead could only give me 12 hours of work a week, try to give me a kitchen porter job, and that brings out, nastiness opinions. You just say horrible things let's just say if you're a waiter and somebody tries to give you a kitchen porter job, you just want to say, look, shove the kitchen porter job up your ass. So, there were a lot of good things that have happened in the last few years, such as I've not gone back to Australia, went to 30 new countries in a period of like 2.5 years since moving to London. I've stayed in the one spot, especially even after I came back after a month of Sweden. I kept the job for 5 years. I've had friends visit me from abroad, like America and Australia and Canada. I've met a lot of famous people. Like, I met Joan Collins before I moved to London, but since I moved to London, I met Lee Aaron, Stockard Channing, Nicole Schwitzer from the Pussycat Dolls. Forgive me for not pronouncing her name right. So Jessica Parker. I've met Tom Conti. I've met Kathy Lette. I've met Lee Aaron, Roy Vaughan, seen a lot of amazing bands. And I'm just glad that I left behind Birmingham, because at the start of the decade I was like, I love Birmingham. I can't stand London. London's too claustrophobic for me. Oh, there's too many people. And everyone talks shit about Birmingham. But then after a certain period of time, you're like, well, Birmingham sucks. Birmingham's got too many racist people. Birmingham is very xenophobic. And I got punched out in Birmingham. In all my time in London, I have not been attacked or violently assaulted. Even though, like, last year I was trying to stop a guy from stealing crap at Greg's and he, like, throttled me, but it wasn't that much of an assault. I was just trying to stick up for the local Greg's. But, you know, but like in the last year or so, when times have been tough and I've got fired from jobs because of my unhappiness and bitterness towards people I don't really like, or the times I quit a job because I'm fed up working with dumb shits, I think to myself, look, am I really over London? Am I really tired of it? Is it time to leave? Is it time to go to Northern Ireland? Is it time to go to Dublin? Do you really want to go to Portugal, even though you guys speak Portuguese? And the answer is like, no, I don't move to Dublin because the rent's expensive. I don't move to Belfast because I've never been there myself. Why would I move to Belfast when I've never visited there? And I don't want to live in Portugal because I can't speak Portuguese, so there's no point. Like, if you're going to move to another country in the world, you might as well be the best person to fit in by learning the language, rather than those English expats who live in those enclaves and they don't speak Spanish or Portuguese and they don't bother to integrate. So, yes, you can move to London if you want to, no matter what your nationality is, no matter if you were given a British passport at birth, no matter if you're even born in the United Kingdom, no matter if you were born in the Commonwealth. You just have to, work it your own way. You have to do your own things. You have to battle it out. Disregard all the idiots you don't like working with. Because, let's face it, when you're on a plane and you're heading abroad, you're heading off to a faraway destination like Taiwan, you're like, man, I'm so lucky I'm going to Taiwan. But all the idiots I've worked with in the last few years, they can't afford that because they spend all their money on alcohol and cigarettes. I'd always remember that, travel is not a luxury, alright? It's a rite of passage. You do it because, it soothes the soul. You don't travel just because you're rich. You don't travel even if you're poor. You just do it to see things. Because closed-minded people are the ones who just spend most of their days in their bedroom locked up being racist and drinking whiskey. And I thought to myself many years ago, I thought, man, if I really was a racist person, I would just stay at home in Sydney, Australia, and just live in my mum's house and drink whiskey all day. But, I'm a teetotaler, and I don't want to be a closed-minded idiot. So anyway, this is Martin Millard, over and out.